Good morning, in this case, to the evening news rundown. We're in the wee hours of the evening at this point, heading into the morning, but this is Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News. Thank you for tuning into a special edition of the evening news rundown. Uh, Welcome to Black History Month. We will have a Black History Month spotlight towards the end of tonight's rundown if you want to stick around to the end of that. But jumping right into the world story, we obviously heard from Russia President Vladimir Putin, who mentioned that he's actually still open to negotiating with the West over tensions in Ukraine. He mentioned that the West was actually not honoring his requests or the Kremlin's requests in terms of the Ukraine and a possible partnership with NATO, an allyship with NATO. He did not want that in terms of the Ukraine. He mentioned that the Ukraine getting additional weapons or additional supplies could be a possible issue for the nation of Russia. Obviously, the West has been uh, very closely watching Russia's activity in the Ukraine when President Putin sent 100,000 troops to the area. So, um, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson mentioned on Tuesday in his conversation with Ukraine President Zelensky that obviously the UK is open to negotiations, but they have they have their they have their sanctions at the ready if Russia decides to do something and make violent action against Ukraine. So we will continue to monitor that. Please continue to watch this space for more updates as well. Obviously, this is a huge story on a global scale. None of the Western nations want any massive conflict in that area. President Zelensky, for his part, he did sign a decree previously that was meant to build up the military force in Ukraine. The decree um, demanded that there would be an increase of about 300,000 troops in Ukraine through conscription, in other words, a military draft. That military draft will continue through January of 2024. So that conscription is still in place. So we will continue to keep you guys updated where that is concerned here at Florida National News. Now, heading into our second world story, this one is a little more on the positive note. Of course, if you're someone who is from the Caribbean, specifically the Caribbean nation of Grenada, or you're in the Grenadian diaspora, you've got some good news. Sunday is probably a very significant day for you, but Grenada is celebrating its 48th anniversary of its independence. And for those in the diaspora who cannot celebrate with the folks at home, there will be a live stream available courtesy of the Embassy of Grenada in Washington, D.C. They're teaming up with the First African Baptist Church in Philadelphia. As you can see there, the FAB Church Philly on Facebook and the FAB Church Live on YouTube is where you can catch the live stream for the Independence celebration that's going to be happening at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time for that live stream. So if you're someone in the diaspora, or if you know someone who's in the Grenadian diaspora that's here in the U.S. and just want to catch that, celebrate with the folks back home, that is how they're able to do that. Now, we're going to take a very brief commercial break, and we'll be right back with your U.S. stories as well as your Florida stories. Stay tuned.
I'm not picking it up. You pick it up.
I'm not picking it up.
Well, somebody's got to pick it up.
I'll pick it up. They're clean. 'Cause my hand is clean. Oh yeah, I'm Charmin clean. That's how I know they're clean.
Charmin Ultra Strong is woven like a washcloth and just cleans better.
Yeah, I'm Charmin
The
clean.
kid does have a
That's
point.
My hand is clean.
Enjoy the go with Charmin. And for an extra clean finish, try Charmin Flushable Wipes.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Evening News Rundown, a special early morning edition of the Evening News Rundown. But in our U.S. story, the Native American tribes of the U.S. have gotten a very big opioid settlement. And this is some big news for the Native Americans across the country, as in the 1990s, when the tobacco companies were coming to their deals in terms of settlements, Native Americans were not included in that, as was noted on Tuesday when the settlements were announced. Now, the settlements were with Johnson & Johnson as the pharmaceutical company, but three major distributors as well were included in the settlement. And this is relating to opioids, of course, oxycodone on the pharmaceutical side, and on the illegal side, illegal drugs such as fentanyl. Now, the tribes across the country have been dealing with the opioid epidemic on a much larger scale compared to some of the other people groups that are out there. One study cited in the settlement found that Native Americans had the highest per capita rate of opioid overdose of any population as of 2015. More than 400 tribes and intertribal organizations representing about 80% of tribal citizens have sued now over opioids. So the settlement that was reached on Tuesday is a $590 million settlement for all of the tribes that are federally recognized across the United States of America. And regardless of whether or not someone within those tribes have actually physically suffered the effects of opioids, they can still participate in this particular settlement. So W. Ron Allen, who is the chair of the Jamestown, I'm probably going to butcher this, but Keklallam tribe in Sequim, Washington, he was the one that made the note that this settlement was a big deal because now the tribes are able to participate in a settlement for something that has directly impacted them on such a scale compared to back in the 90s with the tobacco companies. So he wanted to make a note of that. The other three distribution companies that I was mentioning before are AmerisourceBergen, Cardinal Health, and McKesson. So these are three companies that have chosen to comply and will be involved in the settlement that the Native Americans will benefit from. Now, one of the things that was noted in the documents is that those who receive any dollars from the settlement have to put the money towards dealing with any of the consequences from opioid addiction or opioid overdose, such as organizational entities that may exist in the different tribal nations that would help folks deal with the consequences of the opioid epidemic. But huge congratulations in terms of that settlement. Now, jumping here to the state of Florida, we have a couple of stories for you. On the state level, Attorney General Ashley Moody has launched a resource that is helping Floridians, or aims to help Floridians, to notice and avoid cryptocurrency scams. So in a video that was released on Tuesday, she announced the resource. It is called Scams at a Glance, Cryptocurrency Scams. So basically, the resource is meant to define what cryptocurrencies are and know what to watch out for. According to a new report, crypto scams stole more than $7.7 billion worldwide in 2021, which is an 81% increase from the year prior. Now, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, found that American consumers specifically lost more than $200 million from fraudulent cryptocurrency payments last year. So Attorney General Ashley Moody wanted to produce a resource for consumers in the state of Florida that would be helpful to that end. Now, jumping over to the second story, this one is on a more local level, but Orange County Sheriff John Mina had a press conference on Tuesday with regards to a homicide that took place in Pine Hills. So he went ahead and held a press conference to provide more information as it relates to what happened in the homicide, and is calling for folks who have any additional information to provide that to law enforcement. Here is a brief clip from the press conference on Tuesday.
The family is reeling over the loss of these two individuals, and this murder has shaken our community. It's shaken the family, obviously, and all of us here at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. So we know there's someone out here who knows what happened. Please help us bring these killers to justice. The Florida Sheriff's Association has upped the reward from $5,000 to $10,000. So if anyone has information about this case, no matter how insignificant, we urge them to call Crime Line, 1-800-423-TIPS. They could be eligible of up to a $10,000 reward, and their information will remain anonymous. And so our homicide detectives will not rest until these brazen killers are brought to justice. So please, if you know any details about this crime, please let us know, and you can call anonymously. And to the murderers who senselessly ripped this man away from their family, we're coming for you. So do the right thing and turn yourself in.
Now, a couple of the things that Sheriff Mina also mentioned during the press conference is that there are currently 2 suspects at large in the investigation. The Orange County Sheriff's Office already has the vehicle that was stolen, that is already in their custody. They didn't want to reveal any more details besides that during the press conference. The victim of the homicide, Eukin Lloyd Cummings, was 78 years old, and he was a father of 4 and had 10 grandchildren, and from the sound of things, 1 great-grandchild as well. So as you heard from Sheriff Mina, if you know any information, be sure to reach out to the Sheriff's Office. Be sure to reach out to law enforcement. Additionally, Sheriff Mina did briefly discuss the Nazi demonstration that took place in Orlando, and he mentioned that neither he nor any of the deputies liked the rhetoric that was taking place there, but he said that they did have to be careful and be mindful of the demonstrators' First Amendment rights, even if it was hate speech. He did say that the Orange County Sheriff's Office was working with the Anti-Defamation League, and there are indeed charges forthcoming for several people that was involved in that incident. Now, we're going to take another very brief commercial break, and we're going to come back with your business news. Per usual, we like to break things up in terms of the categories. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
Welcome back to the Evening News Rundown, ladies and gentlemen, and we're coming into the business story, which is an interesting one. Tesla has announced a recall due to the self-driving software running stop signs. You guys have probably heard of the rolling stop, and unfortunately, some of those models are guilty of that. So Tesla has announced their recall. Here's a little bit more information for you guys. The manufacturer is recalling nearly 54,000 cars and SUVs because of that full self-driving software that lets them roll through the stop signs without coming to a complete halt. Now, recall documents that were posted on Tuesday by U.S. safety regulators are saying that Tesla will disable the feature with an over-the-internet software update. So they're going to work on that. The rolling stop feature allows vehicles to go through intersections without stopping at about 5.6 miles per hour, which that's pretty dangerous. Like that's enough to get someone hit. Now, Tesla agreed to the recall after 2 meetings with officials from the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration. Now, that's according to the documents. Tesla said it knows of no crashes that have resulted as a result of this particular feature, but the recall covers Model S sedans and X SUVs that were manufactured from 2016 through 2022, as well as 2017 to 2022 Model 3 sedans and 2020 to 2022 Model Y SUVs. Now, selected Tesla drivers are beta testing the full self-driving feature. They're going to test that software on public roads. The company says the cars cannot drive themselves and drivers must be ready to take control at all times. A firmware release to disable the rolling stops is expected to be sent out in early February. We're going to take another brief commercial break, and we're going to come back with your sports and entertainment news. And we're putting them together because they all kind of revolve around the NFL. So stay tuned, guys. We will be right on back. And this is one of those like wet your tongue kind of breaks. It's very, very brief. So if you're still watching us, first of all, thank you. But we will be right back. Stay tuned.
Mercury agents everywhere are saving people hundreds and are also there to help save the day.
That was fast. You covered.
Thanks, agents.
Watch out!
That's my car!
Don't worry. We're here to help.
For savings and service above the rest, you can count on Mercury. We're on a mission to save you money.
Welcome back, guys, to the Evening News Rundown. And of course, coming into our sports segment, the biggest news that permeated all of the sports world today was, of course, Tom Brady's official retirement from the NFL. For more on that, we do have our sports reporter, Todd Graisley, who's going to give you some of the details.
Thank you so much, Mellissa. Well, it is official. Coming straight from the source himself, Tom Brady has announced his retirement in the NFL after 22 seasons. Brady will go down as the greatest of all time. 7 Super Bowl championships, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, and the statistical leader in pass attempts, pass completions, and passing touchdowns. Brady once looked over a 6th-round pick out of the University of Michigan, 199th overall in his second season with the New England Patriots, takes them to the Super Bowl and wins his first of 6 with Bill Belichick and company, comes to Tampa Bay in a surprising move 2 years ago and leads the Buccaneers to their 2nd Super Bowl in franchise history in just his first year under center. This past season, expectations riding high as the Bucs looked to repeat, but fell just short against the Los Angeles Rams. Brady ending his career on what could have been a magnificent run, ending on a field goal that lost the Buccaneers that game in a heartbreaker. But he will go down as the greatest quarterback of all time, one of the greatest players of all time. So what's next for Brady? Business ventures, spending time with his family and his kids. He cited, hey, I want to give 110% to this game. I want to be all in, and I just can't do that this year. With that in mind, who do the Bucs turn to? Is it Kyle Trask, who they signed in the second round? Is it Blaine Gabbert? Or is it a surprise? Is it Teddy Bridgewater, or Jameis Winston coming back? Or could it be Aaron Rodgers or even Russell Wilson from the Seahawks? Regardless, they have a lot of thinking to do. And does Rob Gronkowski, Tommy and Gronky, I know they're breaking up, but does Gronky come back? What does that look like for the Buccaneers in 2022-2023 season? Stay tuned to Florida National News. We'll have all the updates. We'll have coverage from the Pro Bowl as well as the Super Bowl live coverage in LA. Keep it on Florida National News.
Thank you so much for that, Todd. And of course, that is our reporter, Todd Graisley from Tampa with that update. Now, in a little bit more of sports news, he did mention the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl they're already making some news out in California. There was a tour on Tuesday of SoFi Stadium in honor of Black History Month, Tuesday being February 1st, the first day of Black History Month. SoFi Stadium announced its Black History Month exhibit for this year, and it was curated by Khalil Kinsey of the Kinsey family. They are a family that focuses a lot on African-American art. So he is the chief operating officer and curator at the Kinsey African-American Art and History Collection and Foundation. He welcomed the media and gave a brief explanation as to the exhibit, which will be running for Black History Month, and of course, including Super Bowl week. One of the things he mentioned is that the currently immersive exhibit will also extend as the month progresses. So the artwork that you're seeing in this brief tour, in this brief video, that is a decent sized amount of artwork, but patrons can expect to see even more artwork over the course of the month because they plan to extend it by bringing more amazing African-American artwork to SoFi Stadium and to that exhibit to make it even a richer experience for the fans. Now, jumping into our entertainment news. Now, the Super Bowl 56 entertainment for pregame has officially been announced. You guys already know the halftime lineup, but the pregame entertainment has been announced as well. So starting with some very heavy hitters, including Mickey Guyton, country star Mickey Guyton. She will be singing the national anthem. Gospel duo and Inglewood natives Mary Mary will be singing Lift Every Voice and Sing, along with YOLA, which is the youth of Los Angeles. They will be the Youth Orchestra of Los Angeles, They will be performing alongside Mary Mary with the Lift Every Voice and Sing. Janae Aiko, who is also a multi-Grammy nominee, she will also be performing. She will be singing America the Beautiful, and alongside her, actress Sandra Mae Frank will be performing America the Beautiful in American Sign Language. And of course, Grammy-winning producer Zed, he will be basically operating the ones and twos while the players do their warm-ups for the Super Bowl. And of course, as you guys know, for the big halftime show, it is predominantly West Coast heavy hitters, but of course we got Mary J. Blige in the mix as well. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, and Kendrick Lamar. A huge lineup. And this year is Roc Nation, of course, Jay-Z's Roc Nation's third consecutive year executive producing the halftime show for the Super Bowl. So huge congratulations to those artists out there. We're going to take one final break and come back with that promised Black History Month spotlight, guys. So stay tuned if you are curious about that. We will be right back. And welcome back, guys. As promised, we're going to connect you with our reporter, Janira Garcia, who is going to be providing the Black History Month spotlight starting on day one. We want to make sure to give you guys a little bit of some information as it pertains to history here in downtown Orlando. Check it out.
I'm Janira Garcia with Florida National News. Despite February being a very short month, there's a lot going on all over Florida in many different cities. And one of the go-to places to go to see in downtown Orlando is a hotel called the Wells Built Hotel. It's a museum right now. But many years ago, Dr. William Wells built this hotel for the safe housing of African Americans because they weren't hosted in other hotels due to segregation. And so he was known for that, making sure that African Americans had a nice and safe place to stay at. But he was also a doctor to many. He dedicated his life to making sure that African Americans had the best medical care possible. And definitely a great place to go visit in downtown Orlando. We're going to be covering a lot of events all over the city and in many different parts of Florida. Stay with us, connect with us on social media, Florida National News, subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is Janira Garcia with Florida National News.
Thank you so much for that, Janira. And thank you for sticking around all the way to the end, especially in this particular wee hour of the morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, all of that stuff. You can find us at Florida National News on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the bell icon so you can get all of the notifications for all of our shows. Never miss a single interview, live stream, or news update. We want to make sure to keep you guys updated. And for some of our live streams on Facebook, also be sure to go over to our FNN News TV page and like that. There are times when we go straight live, we're in the moment, and we are out on the streets for you guys, bringing you the updates. And if you are someone, as you saw, we ran commercials on our segment today. If you're someone who's looking to advertise, or you know someone who has a small business and is looking to advertise, or even on the corporate side, let us know. Be sure to shoot us an email at ads@floridanationalnews.com so we can include those ads in our news segments here. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Mellissa Thomas with Florida National News, coming to you with the evening news rundown. Have a great rest of your night, or in this case, morning. Take care.